94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
Hey, it's Ethan James. Today we're going to be talking to a really special U.S. Army veteran of Lexington who just celebrated his 90th birthday, U.S. Army veteran Harmond Hugh Rogers. Mr. Rogers, you were drafted. Tell me about that experience.
This was in the 50s, and Uncle Sam needed soldiers. I was in college, but he let me get out, and then my number came up. I was under the Lexington County Board of Selective Service, and my name starts in R, so a couple of other guys, Rawl, a familiar name, and Harmond Rogers, yours truly, we got the summons, and we, in due course, met the Greyhound bus in Lexington, and we probably went to the bus station and probably got military transportation, but it wasn't a deuce and a half. But
right.
We all went to the same company, and it was the routine infantry training, which was pretty hard, and if you weren't in shape.
Mr. Rogers, you said you were drafted in the 50s. Was that a scary time? Were you kind of concerned? Were you worried about what was coming next whenever you were drafted?
Well, I had not been in the Army, and so I had my ideas about it. Of course, my dad had been in World War I
Wow.
in 1918.
Yes, sir.
And I had heard a little bit about it. I guess there's some anticipation of you entering something that you haven't experienced, but not too bad. You just make up your mind you're going to do the best you can. That's what you ought to do.
You were drafted, enlisted man, and later you became an officer. You already had a law degree and actually went to boot camp on Fort Jackson, right?
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit about that commission.
Well, you applied for it, and there was a formality, and I had some recommendations, judges and some outstanding Columbia lawyers were recommending. This went to the Judge Advocate General of the Army. No doubt he's got plenty of helpers
Right.
to evaluate. I was selected, but the way it works is, of course, there was training classes for that type of training were held at Fort Benning, Georgia. There was room for only so many guys in a JAG class, but it was very high class and very top-notch training. I feel like Uncle Sam, if anybody can afford it, he can, and didn't hold back.
You're currently working in South Carolina. You went to Fort Jackson for basic training. You've lived in South Carolina your whole life?
I really have. That's right. I was born and raised on RFD2 Lexington, out in the country, way out. I mean, in summertime, you didn't ride the school bus. It was pretty isolated near Lake Murray. Now I live in the town of Lexington, and I say I'm a country lawyer and a depression baby. And I'm talking to you from my law office in Lexington now.
Thank you to Resource Financial Services for providing an Orca tumbler for this week's featured soldier. Proud to offer military personnel zero lender fee mortgages. ResourceVALoans.com. Mr. Rogers, the way that we got put together, Mita Bonsley, who works for ColaDaily.com, she came out and she wrote an article about you. You just celebrated your 90th birthday.
That's right.
That's got to be so cool to watch so many different things happen in Columbia, especially the differences that have happened to Fort Jackson since you went to basic training there.
Right. When I went to basic training there, there seemed to have been a lot of frame huts or barracks.
Right.
I believe it was like it was in World War II, pretty much. Yes, I realize now what do we have? The Soldier Center out there. We've got maybe all the branches combined for the chaplain's school.
Yes, sir.
So, there are a world of things out there, and everything is modern, and it is so much different.
You must run into other soldiers who serve on Fort Jackson while they're out in town in their uniform. Do you ever get nostalgic? Do you ever go, oh, I miss, putting on a uniform every day?
No.
Mr. Rogers, you served as an enlisted man at first and then later became an officer. You got to tell me, being able to serve on both sides of the aisle, which one did you enjoy more?
Officer side. I actually think I was a better officer than I was an enlisted man. I was overweight, not terribly, but I wasn't in very good shape.
Mama probably cooked really good?
Right, true. Yeah, 8 weeks of pretty severe training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I lost some weight. But the work I was assigned to as a judge advocate, I was just more attuned to that than I was as an infantryman. Just proud of both. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
But learning to put an M1 rifle, taking it apart, putting it together. The training was good. The cadre, the force at Fort Jackson were top notch. Making a soldier out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was about how many years ago? 1954.
You run a law office in Lexington. Tell me a little bit about your law office in Lexington and what you guys do now for the community.
After active duty, I did legal work. I was a federal government lawyer first for the Corps of Engineers in Charleston, so I didn't get out of South Carolina, as you were referring. And then I worked for the U.S. Small Business Administration and learned a little bit about profit and loss and balance sheets and things like that I think came in handy later. I've pretty much been in the private practice of law in Lexington County. As you know, we're over here at the county seat where the head courthouse is.
Right.
Most of the county office. The general practice and now is somewhat reduced because I'm not as fast on my feet anymore. And I'm in the building with a younger lawyer by the name of Jim Snell, and actually it's his building. We became acquainted about 15 years ago or so, maybe longer. I deal in decades, not in precise years.
That's right, sir. That's right.
And time flies by so fast.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pig's Barbecue, serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. And Palmetto State Armory, American made for life. And Franklin Equipment, rent, buy, rely. And Atkins Law Firm Workers' Comp Attorneys, who you hire matters.